the Pennsylvania State Police is responsible for providing protection to the governor and his family. This incident has been very difficult, I know, first and foremost, on the governor, his wife, and his children. It has also been very difficult on the people who work here at the residence and the troopers who are tasked with protecting the governor. In our tenure since January of 2023, we had made multiple augments to the security detail, personnel, vehicles, some tactics. It obviously proved ineffective to thwart Cody Balmer in April. However, we were ultimately successful in the governor and his family not being harmed. Tremendous amount of damage, tremendous amount of psychological damage, and we have endeavored since then to make a very thorough inquiry into how the incident happened, where the gaps were, what the improvements need to be, and we've endeavored to build the most robust protection detail that we can for the governor.
You talk about the word ineffective there. I mean, was this a failure?
Yes, I would not be sitting here if Cody Balmer was not able to scale the fence. I have said to the governor, I am ultimately responsible for everything that does and does not happen in the state police. And we've endeavored to take a hard look, first internally, and secondly with an outside consultant, Jeff Miller, who left the agency in 2008, but I was deliberate in my recommendation of him because of his organizational knowledge. He is a man of great integrity, respected by both sides of the aisle in Harrisburg. And in his post-PSP career, working in the NFL, he's been responsible for 11 Super Bowls. So he's been responsible for 11 Level 1 national security events. And as I looked at who to bring in to tell us where we need to do things better, he rose to the top of the list. And we were able to bring him in to do a full assessment as well as our own internal after-action report.
There's a lot of people who would like to see that report. Why can't it be released?
So the reality of that report is it highlights changes that need to be made. And if the number one goal is the safety of the governor and his family, those changes need to remain as closely held as we possibly can. In terms of broad explanation of what happened, I would narrow it down to three main topics. There's a physical plant component, there was a technological component, and there was a personnel component. And when I say a physical plant, there are things that people walking by here will now see: a substantial wall with an anti-climb topper that will hopefully thwart a future attempt to gain access. And we want to build security in layers so that we have the best protection. In terms of some of the technological aspects, certainly we had a camera system, and we had some additional systems which I don't want to discuss, but we've made improvements on those to take advantage of some technology moving forward that will allow us to make things more secure. And then in terms of the personnel, as I said, we had augmented the security detail. Ultimately, it was not effective, but the members who were working here that evening, I have not said this publicly, but they were doing their job. Our after-action report did not reveal that they were in any way derelict in their duties before, during, and after the attack. And again, they were integral in summoning help, summoning the fire department, getting the governor and his family out of here. And we've made an attempt now under that personnel component to try and be efficient. No need to reinvent the wheel. We looked very closely at the Secret Service, and we've created a uniform division here of a tactical response group, which people will see, not unlike the wall, troopers in uniform who will be here constantly protecting the physical structure that will allow us a lot more offensive capability in terms of threats that hopefully will reveal themselves sooner and on those outer layers rather than later and on the inner layers.
Were there only 2 troopers here that night?
So I don't mean to be cryptic in my answer. I will say there were more than one. I don't want to quantify the number of troopers, and I would say to people who ask that question and why I won't confirm that is because, again, it goes to potentially reveal some of the tactics or the training that we may utilize. But also, I wouldn't tell you, as a matter of course, how many troopers were working at one of our 94 installations across the Commonwealth, given any shift or day of the week.
You mentioned they weren't derelict in their duty. People have wondered, though, how did Cody Balmer, A, get over the fence, and I think that has been talked about and people understand that, but that he was able to remain on the property as long as he did, before even breaking in and then committing the arson, trying to break through the door that's very close to where we're sitting right now. A lot of people have wondered why he wasn't either apprehended or detected immediately.
So I would say, again, that the modus operandi of Cody Balmer was fairly methodical and fairly coordinated in terms of the way in which he came over the fence. And we know exactly minute by minute where he was. And it has exposed some areas where some of those technological components could have served us better. In terms of the physical plant here, it's 29,000 square feet. It's 3.12 acres on the exterior. That's a lot of ground to cover. And we've tried to address that in the personnel component that I spoke of earlier by the tactical response unit and some additional staffing that we've put on here to make sure that we remain offensive. In terms of the windows, at the time we did not have glass break sensors on the windows. We've taken steps, and it's part of the ongoing improvements to make them not only shatterproof, which we've done in a temporary capacity, or shatter resistant, but one of the long-term recommended security upgrades will be the windows will be ballistic moving forward, and that'll be handled by Secretary McNeil's people moving forward. So we've tried to address that. In terms of, again, not being cryptic, we had a camera system. With the camera system, if you asked me when I went to bed on Saturday night, we had a lot of cameras. It turned out, under the stress of the moment, several dozen of the governor's family members in here across 29,000 square feet. I know that our troopers were monitoring, as they should have been, where they were physically in the building. And a short time before the attack, the troopers were being very diligent, knowing where the family was, and had made a security sweep through the interior here, and that proved to be very outcome determinative in making sure that those doors that you saw Cody Balmer try to kick up against were secured. So in the future, again, we're trying to leverage not only technology and personnel to make sure that, along with the physical component of the physical plant, that puts our people in a position to be successful. So I would say, in a summation, if our people who were working here were not successful that night, and that's what my conclusion is, as a result of needing more people, improvements in the physical plant, and improvements in technology, then it's my job to own it, number one, and to identify and fix it, number two.
Right, and just for clarity's sake, I know there have been comments that the governor's made, I think, with the previous interview and some other things he said. There was a detection at some point. Was it? I don't know if you want to say whether it was the cameras or another piece of technology, but they knew he was on the property.
Well, they knew that there was a detection with one of the systems, and were diligently making an attempt to try and identify and locate him. And to go beyond that, I would say I would have to tell you some additional security protocols which were in place that I'm not prepared to give you, but he did trip a system, Balmer did trip a system. And again, the troopers, diligent with the tools and equipment and the technology that they had, were making an attempt across 3.12 acres to identify what tripped that system.
When you talk about, especially watching those security camera videos, I mean, I was in court that day. I was sort of struck watching those videos, seeing Cody Balmer get into the reception area, and he got all the way up to that door. How eye-opening was it for you to see that?
Horrific. I mean, I would not sugarcoat it in any way, shape, or form. I was here that evening in short order after being alerted. Our concern for the governor, number one, and our concern about the infrastructure that was in place, and to find ways that we needed immediately to improve it. And I can tell Pennsylvanians that this was an attack not only on the governor and his family, but on a very personal perspective as the commissioner, this was an attack on all Pennsylvanians. We try and confront violence against all victims across the Commonwealth every day. To have this happen here, very, very personally challenging, I will say, to me. And that's not to say of the people who were here that night, but those videos were sobering to watch. And again, I am the responsible party, and we've worked tirelessly since then to fix it.
What was that like, talking with the governor and his family and trying to tell them, listen, we're going to fix this, or we are going to do better?
I mean, I felt terrible. I felt terrible. I said, Governor, I'm the responsible party ultimately for what happens for everything in the state police, and we're going to fix it.
Some of the security upgrades and the report, PSP's been, I would say, not necessarily always willing to give every detail about everything beyond some of the public information that's out there. What do you say to the lawmakers, the members of the public who wonder, we're spending all this taxpayer money, is it necessary? And do we know that it's really going to do what we hope it's going to do? What do you say to some of the scrutiny?
Well, I would say the scrutiny is certainly not unwelcomed on our part. We know that we're accountable to Pennsylvania and to the elected representatives here. Our number one goal has been safety, and our number one goal has been building the infrastructure moving forward to mitigate as many threats as we possibly can. In terms of how we do that, it's going to be a constantly evolving process. We've changed policy so that a vulnerability assessment will be done every 2 years to coincide with an election year, so that if there is a change in administration moving forward, future administrations will have the benefit of having a fresh assessment that's done. We need to secure this place. It's Pennsylvania's house, not only for its current occupant, but all the future occupants and their families who come later.
You mentioned future governors. Obviously, here there will be this same level of security upgrades, whether it's the fence, some of the personnel, I would assume. Elsewhere, are the assessment that was mentioned in the letter that you and Secretary McNeil sent to the legislature, will there be future assessments and possibly actions taken for future governors as well at their private residences or at other points of?
Yeah, it would be irresponsible for me to comment about the future. I can tell you, as we said, that we've taken a look at the governor's private residence. We've been very diligent in terms of trying to mitigate as many threats as we can. We stand by those, and we feel that it's important. And on a very personal note, I can't have another call like I received on the morning of April 13th.
What would you want people to know that perhaps they themselves from the outside are wondering that, maybe isn't a security detail, but just perhaps explains some of, the response that you guys had that perhaps they haven't considered? What would you say to them?
In terms of the thing that the Executive Protection Detail confronts on a minute-by-minute basis is a zero-fail mission. The state police was responsible for 180 details in support of the Secret Service through a presidential election year. Pennsylvania, a pivotal part in that process. Secret Service, is our partner. Again, we've been through the incident in Butler on July 13th, and we're trying on a daily basis amongst rising political violence to try and be as proactive as we can at mitigating those threats and then operating in the environment, not just here at the governor's residence, but leveraging our partnerships with our federal partners, our fellow state partners, our county and municipal partners, the Pennsylvania Criminal Intelligence Network, the Capitol Police, in terms of the people's business that goes on every day here in Harrisburg. I mean, those are all partnerships and collaborations that we're trying to leverage to give us the best operational intelligence to put us in a position to be successful. And in order to be successful, again, we need the personnel, we need the technology, and we need the physical plan improvements in order to do it.
You saw what happened in Butler. You saw what happened with Luigi Mangione, who was apprehended here in Pennsylvania, and you saw what happened here. How worried are you about increasing political violence to the point that we're seeing these high-profile incidents happen? And you have some very dangerous individuals who are determined, and they are able to do serious harm like that.
Yes, I would say that the overall picture is one where things seem to be escalating. That having been said, I try to come to work every day with 6,500 women and men, civilian and enlisted, in the state police, and our partners that I mentioned earlier, trying to handle it one incident at a time, one crisis at a time. And I believe several things. The vast majority of Pennsylvanians, the overwhelming vast majority of Pennsylvanians understand it. They're good people. They may disagree, but they're for law and order, and they understand that they don't want to see people victimized. And then beyond that, I would say that they understand we have a difficult job, and they respect the job that we do. So it's our job. I tell people all the time, we try and dot the i's, cross the t's, be where we're supposed to be, do what we're supposed to be doing, and try to handle it one crisis at a time.